I don't know. It's 4 p.m.
It says live.
It does, but it's still spinning bar. Spinning circle? Can a bar spin?
I don't think, I mean, I guess it could spin.
But it's not spinning.
But it's not anymore. We're good now.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
It's Tuesday.
It is.
We're here to talk about it.
We are.
And
I'm hungry every time we go on here. Should we we need to start bringing tacos to talk about it?
I think we should. I actually today went and looked at the 2021 calendar to find out if Talk About It Tuesday would also be April Fool's Day. I was going to plan for all of our viewers Taco Tuesday, Taco About It Tuesday, and just come on and talk about Tuesdays for the entire day. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us live. We are going to be getting into our topic today for Talk About It Tuesday, working together and not killing each other. Yes, we highly suggest a mascot to provide a buffer between y'all.
He has to come say hi every week.
Every week he comes and says hi to you guys. We are the Niesman Team with Keller Williams Realty in Fort Myers. For those that are joining us, most of you know us. Please know I am your voice. You can write comments here. We are live, and this is a live discussion about working together and not killing each other.
Should I do the voice this week? I feel like you're going to be doing most of the talking on this one.
So I feel like I usually do all the talking. If it's non-real estate related, I'm the one doing the talking, right? And you are there as my backup. So one of us will be watching the stream. Feel free to drop your questions, comments. Let us know if it's something that you've experienced before. And let's get into the conversation about it. Let's talk about it. So why don't you give an intro on where we've come from in terms of working together?
So
I'm like quizzing him on dates now. So tell me, when's our anniversary?
So we've been married 11 years now.
11 years. We got married in 2009.
11th year, right? Or this is our 12th year now.
It'll be 12 in October. Yeah, 12 years married.
And we've been working together. So that means we've been working together longer than 15 years now.
Like 16, 17
years?
This is the 16th year, yeah. So we've been working together far longer than we've been married. Not far longer. I mean, we've been married most of the time that we've been working together. We met at our old business in our old industry back in the day in the mid 2000s. And we were coworkers for a long time, just in the trenches.
We met working together.
Yeah, in the trenches of, sales meetings and early Saturday mornings at work, forever competition between us. Jerry and I became friends over being fueled by competition in business.
Yep.
Right? I feel like we've been coworkers. We were certainly coworkers first before this ever turned into a married with kids situation. I guess I didn't expect us, maybe you did. I didn't expect us to be running our own business together. Did you ever see that happening? I feel like we enjoyed working together, but in the beginning, I guess we never pictured working out of our home in a home office on the same business with, are we co-bosses? No. You're what? The CEO of our company?
Yes.
And we consider me the
CFO?
Yeah.
Or COO?
Yeah.
You kind of fill both of those roles.
I do. I handle all of the financials for the home and business. And I'm also in charge of operations. Jerry is the big picture CEO. He says, I want to go to this faraway point in the next 12 months. And he drops it on my lap and tells me to figure out how to make it happen. And we have learned over the past 15, 16 years ways to make it through working together. We probably work together in our home, and we have 2 home offices in our house, and we work probably 60 hours a week together?
I mean, probably not that much. Well, between work and like volunteering and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe.
So we never leave each other's outside almost never, unless we're meeting with clients and one of the two of us is obligated to be with our children. We're pretty much always together.
Yep.
So let's run down.
We stare at each other all day in our office.
We
Literally.
do. We're in our office right now, and we sit at a conference table. On two ends of a conference table is our main war room, or where we function out of all day, every day. And so here's our best tips and tricks. We put together a list of things that worked for us, and we wanted to share with people on this week of love, especially because more than ever, people are working together. And I think a lot of couples working from home together, even if you're not together on the same business or growing a business or working for the same company in the same room together, there's more people than ever who are at home together. And I started seeing memes about it at the beginning of COVID and laughed about all of them. Something I remember one that was I just found out that I'm married to the let's circle back to this idea guy, and I don't know if I could stay married to him. You learn a lot about your partner. You learn a lot about the person that you're living with, married to, dating, when you have to function as coworkers together. And there's a lot of different ways to be an employee. There's a lot of different work ethics, and it's fascinating to find out. So I think our biggest overall is simply being kind to each other.
Yes.
All the time.
And giving Rachel lots of coffee.
Coffee. So I think that lends itself to...
And now I drink coffee to keep up with her.
So I think part of that is understanding. This is it, man. I work with a coworker that doesn't turn his phone off. So, understanding your partner's work style and being kind and respectful of that and adapting to that.
Yes.
So how are we different? How do we function differently in an office as coworkers?
You like 17 different things going on.
Yes.
You like to be working on your computer while watching a show on the TV and listening to music.
And I probably have a web search on while I'm loading. While QuickBooks is loading transactions, I will also be filtered through Pinterest planning our next event. And so I'm a big multitasker, and
I prefer to have
he works
noise
in
canceling
silence.
headphones.
Jerry will sit for 8 hours at our desk and in silence, unless he's on the phone or having a conversation with somebody. He's just quietly tapping away, and it seems like insanity to me. So simple solutions is obviously to either use separate spaces or noise canceling headphones, as he said, are wonderful. I do a lot of headphones to listen to my podcast that I listen to, TV that I listen to, but it's really becoming aware of who your partner is as a coworker and being kind and respectful towards that. Because you don't...
Well, and that's why we have two different offices too. If we need to be in separate spaces, we can... Yes. We've got one office downstairs, one office upstairs. We can relocate to that.
I do think it's important to have separate workspaces, separate options, and to know what's available to you when you need it. Typically, in a normalized world, all of the libraries here in Lee County have meeting spaces. We've utilized them before in the past. You don't have to have a rent office space to get away for a couple of hours. You can call and have them put your name on a list and rent out a room that gives you free Wi-Fi, free air conditioning, no obligation to pay any money, buy any drinks or coffee. It's a great option. Or to go into a workspace like Starbucks, grab a coffee, things like that. So, but it's important to have a separate space. I've actually, because we share a conference table and trying to be kind and respectful of my partner and his preferred work, what makes him work comfortable. I've taken masking tape and divided our conference table in half so he can have giant piles. Where's all my stackers? like piles of things. Jerry, if I flip it around, he's got just like stacks, and he knows everything that's in each of those stacks, and he knows where to go and get the things that he needs to do. But it would drive me absolutely crazy to have my stuff. So my stuff stays neat and clean and empty.
I'm not allowed to cross the line.
Yes.
She has like a yardstick that she like nudges stuff back when it crosses the tape line.
I do. And so he's respectful of my tape line, and I'm respectful of his mess work.
It's not a mess.
Work stacks.
I know exactly what's there, where it is, what it is.
One of our biggest tips, one of the things that have brought us to, so every year our business goals are the same. We call it doubling down, which is we set goals of double what we accomplished the year prior to. We're going to double for the next year going forward. Well, one thing we've learned is as we've worked together longer and our business has grown, we really need to eliminate the daily distractions. I'm going to take some notes here in the thing. So talk about our weekly meeting and what that does for us. Once a week meetings.
So basically the weekly meetings allow us to have the conversations, the specific business related conversations without the personal stuff that when your spouses / coworkers can get mixed in. So it's 100% focused on business, except for when we get to the calendar stuff. So we roll through our calendar each week and make sure that we're on the same page of what is scheduled already. But we also have a very specific like meeting schedule. So we know that it's a certain amount of time and we know the topics that we're going to cover. So all of that is there, and then we can have our meeting and then basically go about our next week and not have to have a ton of discussion business related in between.
Right. So
so it cuts down on the 10 o'clock in bed when you want it to be personal time and your mind is racing about work, and that's all you end up talking about is the work stuff. So it really helps to separate out the like the business relationship versus the personal relationship.
Right. Having a weekly meeting, and I think the weekly meeting's important, whether you are meeting together to talk about all of the work things. But if you're not in business together, if you're just simply living in your space working, you're also living in your space working on a separate business, it can be helpful to have a once weekly at the same time, same day of the week meeting to get together and discuss things like,
well, the household stuff too.
The household stuff, yes.
Because we do talk about that. I shouldn't say it's 100% business related, but we have it broken down on business, personal, and it's very specific and split so that we do cover it all.
So if, like, say for instance, I get a call from a friend of mine who wants to know if our daughter is going to play volleyball this season, and I want to talk to Jerry about it. It would be very easy for me on a random Wednesday afternoon after when I'm having coffee with a girlfriend to come home and interrupt Jerry's work day and say, hey, let's talk about volleyball and a million other things, right? Because you're constantly encountering business issues and personal issues that you need to discuss. I want to encourage you to figure out what can be put on the back burner until a specific date and time. I keep a running list of like hot topics that we need to discuss at our weekly meetings. And so I'll put on there, Mia volleyball ? And then I know that during our weekly meeting, instead of interrupting his work day and his workflow, because the busier you get working together, what you can't get more of is time. There's only so many work hours in a day. There's only so many personal time hours in a day. And you really want to take advantage of being present in the moment wherever you're at with that. So if we're present at work, working on business, I don't want to interrupt us with personal conversation.
Right. Because it burns more time.
Yes.
Because so if you're in the middle of working on something and then somebody comes in and interrupts you, it's not just the time that interruption takes.
Yep.
You lose time trying to figure out where you were getting back on track.
Absolutely.
So it may only be 30 seconds or a minute, but those 30 seconds and minutes add up over time. And so what we've found is if we can stay focused and set aside specific time to handle those things, then we're much more productive. It's
really difficult to do that, especially if I hope there's a lot of people out there like us. I really like him. I really like him as a husband and as my best friend and as my boss, essentially. We would love to sit and chatter all the time, but everybody knows what it's like to, not everybody, but most of us know what it's like to work in an office environment where it's like, let's come in and interrupt the workday with meaningless chitter chatter. We're essentially coworkers. And if you're at home working with your spouse working at home, you're coworkers in a traditional office setting. And just in the same way that you wouldn't want to be the workplace like gossip or chit chatter or distraction, don't do it in your own home.
Yeah.
But I do hope you guys like working together. Okay, what else do we have? Taking breaks together throughout the week and throughout each day, and to be able to identify times where you can join together. For instance, we have lunch together almost every single day. It's at our calendar for 12 o'clock exactly. From 12 to 1, we do our best to keep our schedule clear. And we usually shut down business and we will play board games like Scrabble or Yahtzee. Sometimes we turn on PlayStation and disappear together, disappear from our business and take a genuine lunch break together. I know other couples work out together. And I think that's lovely. We do like yoga stretching every single day together in the morning at the start of our morning. There's times that we've identified where we can hang out together as coworkers and enjoy that time together as partners in the workday. Thoughts?
Agreed.
Perfect. Done. Check. But not just during the day too. We, of course, if you've watched any of our date night spotlight videos or watched us on social media, most people know we go out every single Saturday night that we can swing it in terms of not having work or family obligations. So having a day a week where you can go out together, take off the coworker hat and be like, we're not going to discuss work. We're not going to discuss business. We're not going to muddy the waters, as it were. And like, let's just go out and hang out as friends, or let's go hang out as partners. All right, so let's talk about creating boundaries, how we can help create those boundaries between a work day clocked in and being at home as partners instead.
So I think we did a lot of that. Part
Sure.
of it was the meeting.
Yes.
Having that weekly meeting and talking about both things so that you don't have one interrupting the other.
Talk about name tags, how that can be helpful.
Yeah, so a lot of companies, you have name tags. I mean, we have our name tags that we wear out. And so a lot of times we will put the name tags on in the house. Mm-hmm. And then if there is a conversation that needs to be had that is separate, Rachel can come to me and say, hey, I need to talk to my husband, not my boss. Can you take your boss name tag off and let's have a conversation for a minute? If it's an urgent matter.
Yeah, so I speak to specific roles, and I think there are times that you do it too. I don't know if you do it as directly. I mean, we're the Real Talk Real Estate team. I'll tell you straight up. There have been times I've gone to Jerry and said, Jerry, hey, I need to talk to my husband right now. And he goes, okay, what's up? And I'll say, my boss is such a jerk. Like, I'm so sick of him today. He will not give me any slack. He made me feel bad when he said this earlier. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's go back to work now. And we high five in and we just go back to work. So I can use specific titles or specific phrasing to tell him what hat I need him to have on. A lot of it's communication, right? It's being able to communicate what you need to be both successful in your home as a partner and in the office environment. That too. Yeah. Is that hard for you?
No. I mean, I feel like I don't know that it ever really was hard, because I feel like the first time I thought it was funny. And then afterwards I realized, like, okay, no, this is good, because I don't want to be a jerk as boss.
Right.
And if you provide me that feedback, then other people that work with us, for us, as part of our team, they may not necessarily feel comfortable. What are you doing?
Oh, I messed up. Hold on.
They may not necessarily feel comfortable coming to me and saying, hey, like, you should handle that in a different way.
Right.
But you do. Mm-hmm. And so then you providing me that feedback allows me to adjust how I handle everybody, how I work with everybody.
Good.
But you've got to be able to accept that as constructive criticism rather than as, like, attacking you.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, being able to have that conversation
over time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is like that radical honesty of understanding that the only way, that's why we consider ourselves like real people, real talk people, is we understand how absolutely vital it is you don't go anywhere unless you're expressing yourself truly, openly and honestly.
Yep.
And then when you're, especially somebody who's your closest coworker or your best friend or your partner, or if that is the same person, all three, to understand that they are doing it. That's why we prefaced with the number one rule is be kind and respectful.
Right.
If you have your partner, the one of the three most important people in your world, or that same person is the three most important person in your world, if you're always being kind and respectful, then it's not so hard to.
Right.
What
having
else?
Those, like, having not just the defined roles as well, but also job functions.
Right.
So, we do it in our house, in our personal household.
Let's talk about checklists. Oh gosh.
We do it there in our personal household, just as we do in our business, where I know what I'm supposed to be doing. She knows what she's supposed to be doing. So she knows what she's in charge of. I know what I'm in charge of. And then we know who's responsible for what.
Yep.
So we don't have to have those constant conversations about who's going to take out the trash, who's going to do the dishes, who's going to make the phone calls for work, who's going to set the appointments, who's going to go on the appointments.
So it's
all those things.
I want to challenge everybody watching. If you work with your partner at the house, or if you're working together and like you're both remote, or whatever the situation is, even if you both leave for work and you're watching, please, I challenge you, please sit down this weekend, on the weekend of love, and make a list of everything that needs to be accomplished in your household. So like grocery shopping, putting groceries away after grocery shopping, who cooks, but then who like preps the vegetables, like break it down, not just laundry, but collect the laundry, run the washer, swap washer and dryer, fold everything, put everything away, put it all on a line, and start assigning people in your home to do those things. And then put it in a place where you can see it. Jerry and I did this many, many years ago.
We did it before we even,
I think maybe right after we were married, we sat down and created a list of, I'm in charge of XYZ and Jerry is in charge of XYZ. And then you kind of take ownership of your own part of working together as a successful home, and then give each other props when it's a job well done. It eliminates so much conversation and bickering, I can promise you.
Yep.
Just assign it right off the bat. Yeah.
Because I mean, I still remember the conversations of, back and forth for 10 minutes over where we want to go to eat, and conversations like, you feeling like you're nagging me.
Yes.
And me feeling like I'm being nagged about taking out the trash.
Right.
Like now I know it's my job to take out the trash. It's not just whoever throws the last thing in there that makes the trash can full. I walk by, I see it's full, I take it out.
That's it. If I see a dirty toilet, I clean it. It's just, there's no question. There's no question once you've spelled out who's in charge of what. And if you work together in business, you could do the exact same thing like Jerry mentioned. So I am in charge of writing every single thank you card. I am in charge of running the financials. He is in charge of very specific things, and I'm in charge of very specific things. And because we've had that conversation, it leaves excess in our day for
it leaves us that time so that we can sit down and have lunch together.
Right.
And not talk work. And it's not even, most of the time, it's not a working lunch.
Right.
We're sitting down enjoying each other's company.
Yeah. Sometimes we dance on Just Dance. Yeah, we enjoy it. We enjoy each other's company. One thing I want to tack on to, if you're thinking about doing a weekly meeting together, one of my favorite parts of it is quote of the week. It is a quote that one of you can put together. Either you can alternate. I always pick the quote of the week at our house. It's my job to bring the quote of the week to our meeting. And at the end of every meeting, we set an intention with a quote for the week coming in the future, what I think would inspire us or push us to the next level. And tack that in and hang it up somewhere in your mutual office, or hang up 2 versions of it in each of your office if you have separate offices. And it creates a unified force. You really feel like you're coworkers, true coworkers working on a goal. Even if the goal is just for me to be successful in my job and you to be successful at your job, that's still a united force for the household. What's our quote this week? I saw you look over there at it.
Don't stop now. You didn't come this far just to come this far.
Yep. That's our quote this week.
And somehow it almost always ties into whatever the heck is going on in that coming week. She's really good about that.
I'm really good at identifying exactly what we both need to hear. And so what else do we have? I think we talked about that. What about books, podcasts, recommendations? What can you recommend to people? Talk about this DISC personality situation. You're better at this than I am.
So it's really helpful to understand. I mean, there's a couple different, there's a ton of different behavioral style assessments that you can take to figure out both your personality / behavioral style and your partner's. So the one that we use the most is the DISC profile. It's just the first one that we were introduced to. We've become very familiar with it, use it all the time. So there's basically in that assessment, there's basically 4 different behavioral styles, and everybody is pretty much typically a combination of 2, sometimes 3. Occasionally there's one that is real pronounced. But we use that, which makes it very helpful, because once you can identify people's behavioral styles and how they're comfortable, you can relate to them in a way that they feel comfortable being related to. So another thing is like the 5 love languages. Yeah, that's another simple one for your partner.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't read that book or taken that quiz, please go do so. It's really important to understand what your partner's love language is.
Yeah, because they don't necessarily receive love the same way you do, and you typically want to give love in the way you receive it.
Right.
So if you can learn what theirs is, you can give it in the way they want to receive it, and it will make everybody much happier.
So like, for instance, we have very different love languages, Jerry and I do. There's 5 of them, like we said. Jerry's is physical touch. So making sure he gets a massage or hold hands while we walk the dog or anything like that.
That doesn't mean everybody come hug me though.
No. And don't touch his beard. Don't touch his face. He does not like it. And my love language is gifts. So like it would mean like if we didn't know each other's love language and I was having a stressful day, Jerry would think, oh, she's stressed. I want to show love. I'm going to come and rub her shoulders at the table where I'm going
to do that.
Cringe.
She don't like it.
Go away. And instead, now he knows all he has to do is throw a pretty chocolate bar my way or a treat or a trinket or something. And he'll be like, oh, he really does love me and think about me. So that's really important to understand. There's also a book called Rocket Fuel that we found really helpful. Yes. It's a book, it's a website, and Rocket Fuel, too. Yeah, they do.
It's more like business related, but it can be
for a relationship.
It can be applied in a household as well.
It basically states that it takes, for instance, companies that are really successful with two heads of the company. So they divide it as a visionary, which is the big picture, make big decision things, visionary. And then the integrator, or the person who makes things happen on like the day-to-day, like minutia of it all. And so it was really important for us to read through that, identify who we are in the household as well as who we are in business, and make sure that we were using our best capabilities with each other during work times and during home times. And so check out the book Rocket Fuel. And then there's a couple of podcasts. There's one that's specifically about this topic, which is Mixing Business with Pleasure podcast. It's a husband and wife business team who all they talk about is how to make that work and how to make it successful. And then there's also the Couples Money podcast. So I know that oftentimes one of the biggest reasons for having frustrations in a home or in a relationship or in a business is money issues, of course. And so it's a great couples money podcast to listen to together to give you tips and tricks on like how, investing in 401k and paying down debt and things like that. So you can kind of spearhead together to eliminate those potential downfalls. What else?
I think that's about it.
I think it is too. Is that it?
I don't know if anybody's got any questions or anything, but I think that about covers it.
Yes.
If you do have any questions, drop them in the comments.
Are you doing home tours on Tuesday? What do we got going on?
So remember, we record them now.
Right.
So yes, there will be a new.
On Tuesday?
No, not on Tuesday. On Thursday.
Or on Thursday. Tell us about it.
So we're still doing our weekly Thursday
virtual tours.
Virtual tours, yes. They are we've geared them this year more towards new construction. Inventory is so ridiculously low here right now that
on both sides, on resales as well as
okay. Resale inventory is down so low right now, and most builders have very little inventory either.
Okay.
So in doing all my home tours last year, what I found was most of the homes were sold by the time we were done filming the tour.
Oh my goodness.
So a lot of the people, like when we first started, it worked out well. We sold a lot of the homes we showed, but now because inventory is so low, it's like as soon as they go on the market, they sell. So we are now kind of shifting over towards new construction so that we can help all of you see what's out there in terms of communities. You don't have to fight for the most part right now with other buyers over buying a place. There's no like bidding wars and stuff like that. Although we're getting to a couple of communities where they're only releasing a few home sites at a time.
Also, I don't know that everybody knows this. Maybe we could talk about it a little bit next week, but you can work with a realtor. You can bring a realtor to work in a new home community.
You should.
Right.
Because
maybe we'll talk about that next week. Let's talk about the importance of having a realtor.
I think we've talked about it before, but we can do it again.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things that you absolutely can and should have somebody representing you, because if you go in by yourself, there's nobody looking out for you.
We should bring tacos next week too.
I think so, because I'm hungry.
I'm going to go make dinner. And it was great to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about it. And I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Happy Valentine's Day to all the girls out there that I love and are here in our local community and afar. And what are we going to do for Valentine's Day? What's everybody else doing for Valentine's Day?
We're staying home. Night at home. We're like bringing the melting pot home.
Yep, we're going to do cheese and chocolate fondue as a family. We also, in lieu of traditional gift giving, we got the To Hunt a Killer, the subscription box that is all about, it's basically like an escape room. You're trying to figure out who done it. They send you a box every month. It takes 6 months to solve the crime. And so we're going to do our first installment of it. Maybe we'll film it for a date night spotlight video and share with you guys what it looks like. And yeah, I think that's it. We love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. I love you.
Love you too. See you later.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh.
You didn't click.
Bye.